Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Today we're at Interop, New York 2010. It's day 2 of the show. On our program is John Nikolopoulos. He's the Director of Marketing at Sagemcom. And John, how are you?
It's good to be here, Rich. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, it's great to have you as always. We've done a number of interviews before. I've been up to visit your company, how many times? At least 4 or 5 times, something like that.
Yeah, you gave some interesting speeches, I remember, so we always appreciate you coming to Montreal.
Yeah, it's been great. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what your company's up to, fax, and specifically, how do you play in the fax market, and why are you here?
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. Fax is, continues to be one of those interesting, I think, mysteries in the marketplace. I think a lot of people just don't realize the scale of the market for fax. If you look at it from an aggregate perspective in terms of services and equipment and so forth, if you look at the next couple of years, fax represents a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. When I tell that to people, that they're always taken aback by the scale of that, because everybody's running on that next greatest thing, which typically is a small market and so forth. When I tell them, hold on, there's a huge opportunity here. And I always think of that famous line from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where he said, I think it was toward the end of the movie, he said something to the effect of, life is moving fast, and if you don't stop and look around, things will just pass you by, right? That's what it is with fax, And one of the challenges we have is to get our partners to focus on this really huge opportunity, and that is, it's not an easy thing, but we continue to work with our partners in terms of educating them on the opportunities and the values of our solution.
So why is it an opportunity?
Like I said, it's an opportunity because, first of all, the scale of the market is huge, but what's also happening is, I think, because of the ongoing TDM to IP migration, there's major churn with regards to the fax ecosystem. Specifically, fax over IP now is becoming embedded in a lot of the unified communication infrastructures, replacing some of the traditional analog implementation. So this represents a tremendous opportunity for partners to deploy state-of-the-art solutions which leverage some of the latest technologies in fax.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think so, and like I said, if you look at from an ROI perspective, it's a no-brainer. A lot of these solutions, typical paybacks are just a couple of months. So I mean, it really is a straightforward solution in terms of getting a rapid ROI and bringing value to your end customers.
And still, people are using fax because of contracts. It's very tough. Even if companies are trying to move to all electronic means, they've got contracts, and they generally have to use fax for that.
It's a lowest common denominator type thing. And I was speaking to my spouse, actually. She's in the legal community. She's telling me that fax has been increasing there. I mean, some stuff that traditionally has been done with these runners who go to court and so forth. Now it's because of cost reasons, they're using fax more so to replace some of those traditional things. So I guess there's a hierarchy of document management or information exchange in terms of which technologies are appropriate for certain applications. So there's one example where I was surprised to see that, but so fax has still a lot of legs left.
So what are you seeing in terms of fax infrastructure in the market right now?
I think that's probably represents some of the biggest challenges. One of the reasons why it's been difficult to get the attention of some of the partners is that fax is typically you have situations where you have analog phone lines connected to your fax. It works. Why touch it and so forth? But obviously, in these types of environments where economics not becomes that much critical, productivity issues come in, then you're sort of forced to look at that infrastructure. And the challenge with fax is it doesn't play just in the UC space. I like to think of fax as, if you look at a Venn diagram of 3 different ecosystems: unified communications, enterprise content management, and the third one is enterprise resource planning. Each of those plays into fax, and you can think of fax sitting in the middle of those 3. And so you need to build hooks to each of those applications depending on your target. And so we have a number of pretty state-of-the-art integration tools to address that integration, whether it be Python scripting, whether it be Java APIs, whether it be XML, a lot of standardized interfaces, but powerful interfaces to enable pretty seamless integration into those infrastructures. And then we also back it up with a pretty comprehensive professional services offering for those partners and customers who just don't have that knowledge or that interest to do things themselves. So that's some of the challenges with fax being an infrastructure play. Again, represents opportunity, and we're trying to be on top of that in terms of our offerings.
So I know there are a lot of new things happening at your company too. I wanted to get an opportunity to just ask you about those.
Well, Sagemcom is an interesting entity. I think we've gone through a number of branding changes, so we're working diligently at the corporate level to raise the visibility of Sagemcom, particularly in North America. It's got a lot of visibility in Europe, but from a North American perspective, we're still in the early phases of that. So that's one thing on the branding front. We're very aggressive on the social media, as you know, so we're trying to move our presence forward with a lot of social media efforts. From an offerings perspective, because fax is an infrastructure play, there's so many moving parts. So again, if you go back to what I just mentioned before in terms of the ecosystems, on the UC front, look at all these partners, whether it be a Cisco or a Avaya or Microsoft, or even some of the other vendors in the space like Audio Codes. Their offerings continue to evolve, so it's a challenge, and for us to continue to stay up to date with all the evolving offerings, but it's also an opportunity. So we're working very closely with some of those partners. And then from the enterprise content management perspective, we're looking at things like, as you know, SharePoint 2010 just came out, so we're looking at leveraging some of that technology into the ECM space, working with our MFP partners, whether it be the Xeroxes of the world, the Ricos of the world, to come up with some pretty state-of-the-art interfaces from perspective optimized connector interfaces.
How about Microsoft Link? Is that anything?
Well, Microsoft Link, as you know, is just a rebranded, an updated version of OCS. So, we've already have documentation collateral discussing how we play into Microsoft Link, and there's an example of something, which is changing. I mean, it's a branding change, but also there are some new features, so we need to stay on top of that, right? So, that, as a player like ourselves, it's a tremendous challenge just to keep up to date with all these different things that are happening with regards to our strategic partners, and on top of what's happening to the industry at large.
Now, as an aside, I think Microsoft, the reason for the name change, according to some people that I spoke with in the industry, not from Microsoft but outside, said that they wanted to use a name. The reason they keep changing that name, and finally they're at Link, is because they want to use a name that you can use as a verb. Like I linked you, or link me, or something like
yeah.
I Skype me, link me, that kind of thing.
Right. No, I think it makes a lot of sense from branding. I mean, Microsoft is generally pretty good with their branding. So, but I mean, of course, that has a trickle-down effect to all our partners and so forth, right? So you got to make sure that that we're using the latest and greatest from Microsoft in terms of their branding and their positioning.
Right. Got to be in sync.
I mean, Microsoft is just a huge channel for us, as is Cisco and so forth, right? You're dealing with so many different players, and
sure,
you need to have solutions that are optimized for each of these channels, whether it be from the core software perspective or from an actual marketing perspective.
So, John, as usual, a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, likewise. So, good luck.
Thank you.